The ancient Sufi saying whispers a truth that most will never grasp. You were born with wings, why prefer to crawl through life? Yet here you are, crawling through the same patterns, the same limitations, the same closed doors that have defined your existence for years. What if I told you that those doors to your new reality have been waiting for you all along, but they remain sealed until the precise moment when you are truly observed? Not watched, not noticed, but observed in the deepest sense of quantum possibility. Stay with me until the very end because I'm going to share a powerful mantra that will shift your entire relationship with reality itself. But first, you need to understand why everything you've tried to change in your life has failed up to this point. You wake up every morning in the same room, look in the same mirror, think the same thoughts, and wonder why nothing ever changes. You've tried positive thinking, vision boards, goal setting, and countless other methods. Yet the doors to your new reality remain stubbornly closed. The reason isn't that you lack willpower or that the universe is against you. The reason is far more profound and simultaneously more simple than anything you've been told. Every moment of your existence, you are collapsing infinite possibilities into a single experience through the act of observation. But here's what nobody tells you. Most of the time, you're not the one doing the observing. You're being observed by the collective consciousness of limitation, by the expectations of others, by the weight of your own unconscious assumptions about what's possible for someone like you. Think about the last time you tried to make a significant change in your life. Maybe you decided to start a new career, transform your health, or create a deeper relationship. What happened? The moment you stepped toward that new reality, every person around you began observing you through the lens of who you used to be. Your family saw the same old you. Your friends expected you to fail like you always had. Even you, in your deepest moments of honest self-reflection, observed yourself through the filter of past limitations. This collective observation collapsed your infinite potential into the familiar pattern of the old you. The doors remained closed because the observer was still locked in the paradigm of what was, not what could be. But there's something extraordinary that happens when the right observer witnesses your transformation, when someone sees you not as you were but as you truly are in your highest potential. Those sealed doors begin to crack open. When you learn to observe yourself from the perspective of your future self rather than your past self, reality itself begins to reorganize around you. The quantum field that surrounds you right now contains every possible version of your life. There's a version where you're living in abundance, where your relationships are deeply fulfilling, where your health radiates vitality, where your purpose is crystal clear and you're living it fully. These aren't distant dreams or fantasies. They exist right now as real potentials waiting to be collapsed into your experience through conscious observation. Consider how a seed transforms into a towering tree. The seed doesn't gradually become a tree through effort or struggle. The DNA within that seed already contains the complete blueprint of the mature tree. When the conditions are right, when the proper elements observe and interact with that potential, the transformation is inevitable and natural. The seed doesn't question whether it's worthy of becoming a tree. It simply allows the process to unfold. You are that seed. And the observer you've been waiting for is not someone else. It's the version of you that already exists in the quantum field, the you that has already walked through those doors and is living the reality you desire. That future self is observing you right now, sending signals back through time, trying to guide you toward the choices that will align you with that timeline. Every intuitive hit you get, every synchronicity that appears in your life, every moment when you feel pulled towards something that doesn't make logical sense, that's your future self observing you and attempting to collapse the wave function of possibility into the experience you're meant to have. But most people resist this observation. They've been conditioned to trust only what they can see with their physical eyes, to believe only what their current circumstances reflect back to them. They look in their bank account and observe scarcity. They look at their relationships and observe dysfunction. They look at their health and observe limitation. Each act of observation from this limited perspective reinforces the very reality they want to escape. The breakthrough comes when you realize that observation is not passive. It's the most creative act in the universe. Every time you observe something, you're not just noticing what already exists. You're actively participating in bringing it into existence. The observer and the observed are not separate. They're different aspects of the same creative process. When you observe yourself with the eyes of limitation, you create more limitation. When you observe yourself with the eyes of possibility, you create more possibility. When you observe yourself with the eyes of your highest potential, you begin to collapse that potential into your lived experience. This is why meditation isn't just about relaxation or stress reduction. In its deepest form, meditation is about shifting the quality of your observation. It's about learning to observe yourself and your life from the perspective of pure consciousness rather than from the perspective of your conditioned mind. In that state of pure observation, the doors that seemed permanently sealed begin to reveal themselves as illusions. The reality you're living right now is the result of how you've been observed and how you've been observing yourself. If you want to access the doors to your new reality, you must become conscious of the quality of observation that's collapsing your experience moment by moment. You must learn to observe yourself as the infinite being you truly are rather than as the limited character you've been playing. Your new reality isn't somewhere else waiting for you to find it. It's here, right now, existing in the quantum field of infinite possibility. The doors aren't locked from the outside. They're held closed by the unconscious agreements you've made about who you are and what's possible for you. The moment you withdraw those agreements and begin observing yourself from the truth of your unlimited nature, those doors don't just open. They dissolve completely, revealing that there were never any barriers except the ones created by limited observation. Every person who has ever transformed their life dramatically didn't do it through willpower or positive thinking alone. They shifted the quality of their observation. They learned to see themselves and their possibilities through different eyes. They allowed themselves to be observed by the quantum field of infinite potential rather than by the collective consciousness of limitation. The question isn't whether you're capable of transformation. The question is whether you're willing to change how you observe yourself and allow yourself to be observed. Are you ready to step into the laboratory of your own consciousness and begin experimenting with different qualities of observation? Are you prepared to discover that the doors to your new reality have been waiting for you to see them clearly all along? This journey requires courage, because you'll be observed differently by others as you transform. Some will resist your evolution because it challenges their own limitations. Others will be inspired by your courage to observe yourself differently. But ultimately, the only observation that matters is your own conscious choice to see yourself as the unlimited being you've always been beneath the layers of conditioning and limitation. The ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus declared, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and he's not the same man." Yet most people spend their entire lives stepping into the same river of experience, wondering why the water never changes. They've forgotten that they are both the observer and the observed, both the river and the one stepping into it. The transformation begins when you recognize that reality operates like a vast mirror system, reflecting back to you the precise frequency of observation you're broadcasting. Every morning when you wake up, you're not just opening your eyes to see the world. You're activating a complex observation mechanism that determines which version of reality gets to emerge from the infinite field of possibilities surrounding you. Most people have never been taught that their observation has creative power. They believe they're passive witnesses to an objective reality that exists independent of their awareness. This fundamental misunderstanding keeps them trapped in cycles of limitation because they're unconsciously observing themselves and their world through the filters of past conditioning, collective beliefs, and inherited patterns of perception. But here's where it gets fascinating. The moment you begin to consciously direct your observation, something profound shifts in the quantum fabric of your experience. Instead of default-errorly observing yourself through the lens of historical limitations, you can learn to observe yourself through the lens of your highest potential. Instead of allowing others to observe you through their projections and expectations, you can emanate such a clear frequency of self-observation that it influences how others perceive you. Think about someone in your life who seems to effortlessly attract positive experiences. Watch them closely and you'll notice something remarkable about the quality of their attention. They don't observe problems, the same do. When way others they encounter a challenge, they're observing it through the lens of opportunity. When they meet new people, they're observing the potential for connection rather than the reasons for separation. When they face uncertainty, they're observing the space for miracles rather than the grounds for fear. This isn't positive thinking or denial. This is conscious observation, the deliberate choice to engage with reality through the highest available perspective at any given moment. These individuals have discovered that observation is not neutral. Every act of awareness is simultaneously an act of creation. Your nervous system is constantly scanning your environment, looking for evidence to confirm the story you're telling yourself about who you are and what's possible for you. If you're unconsciously observing yourself as someone who struggles financially, your nervous system will filter reality to highlight every piece of evidence that confirms this identity while simultaneously overlooking opportunities that don't match this frequency of observation. But when you consciously shift to observing yourself as someone who naturally flows with abundance, your nervous system recalibrates. It begins noticing different patterns, different opportunities, different synchronicities. The same external world begins revealing entirely different possibilities because the quality of your observation has changed the very reality you're able to perceive. This is why people who undergo profound transformations often say it feels like they're living in a completely different world, even though their external circumstances may initially appear similar. They've shifted the fundamental frequency of their observation, and this shift has literally opened doors to experiences that were always available but previously invisible to their conditioned way of seeing. The process requires what I call observation discipline. Just as you might train your body through physical exercise, you must train your consciousness through conscious observation practices. This means catching yourself when you're observing through limitation and gently redirecting your awareness toward possibility. It means learning to observe your thoughts without being consumed by them, observing your emotions without being controlled by them, observing your circumstances without being defined by them. Every master of reality throughout history has understood this principle. They learned to observe themselves and their world through the eyes of their highest truth rather than through the eyes of their current conditions. They discovered that the universe is far more responsive and malleable than most people imagine, but only when approached through the proper quality of observation. The doors to your new reality aren't hidden somewhere in the future. They exist right here, right now, waiting for you to observe them with the clarity and frequency that matches their vibrational signature. These doors have always been present, but they remain invisible to observation that's clouded by limitation, fear, or unconscious conditioning. When you begin practicing conscious observation, you'll notice that reality starts responding to you differently. Opportunities appear that seemed impossible before. People show up who can help you in ways you never expected. Resources become available that you couldn't access from your previous frequency of observation. This isn't magic or wishful thinking. This is the natural result of aligning your observation with the infinite creativity of consciousness itself. The most profound realization comes when you understand that you're not trying to change reality. You're discovering that reality has infinite expressions, and your observation determines which expression gets to manifest in your experience. You're not forcing doors to open. You're learning to observe with such clarity that you can finally see the doors that were always available to you. Stay with me because the mantra I'm about to share will serve as your daily practice for shifting from unconscious to conscious observation. This isn't just a collection of words. When spoken with genuine intention, these affirmations will help retrain your observation mechanism to perceive and create from your highest potential. I am the conscious observer of infinite possibility. Through my awareness, I collapse potential into experience. I observe myself through the eyes of my highest truth, not through the lens of past limitations. Every moment, I choose to see with clarity rather than conditioning. I am both the observer and the observed, creating reality through the quality of my attention. The doors to my new reality are opening now because I observe them with the frequency of possibility. I trust the creative power of my conscious observation to reveal what has always been available to me. The ancient wisdom of Rumi echoes through time. Yesterday, I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today, I am wise, so I am changing myself. Yet most people spend their entire lives waiting for the world to change first, never realizing that the transformation they seek begins with the observer they become. When you repeat these words with genuine intention each morning, you're not just speaking affirmations. You're actively reprogramming the observation mechanism that determines which reality gets to emerge from the quantum field of infinite possibilities. You're training your consciousness to recognize and collapse the wave functions that align with your highest potential rather than your habitual limitations. But here's what happens when you truly embody conscious observation. Your entire relationship with time begins to shift. Instead of feeling trapped by your past or anxious about your future, you start experiencing what quantum physicists call the eternal now. This is the space where all possibilities exist simultaneously, where the doors to every potential reality remain perpetually available to the right quality of observation. In this expanded present moment, you begin to notice subtle signs that reality is responding to your shifted observation. The first indication is often a change in the quality of your dreams. Instead of processing the residue of daily stress and limitation, your dreams begin showing you glimpses of possibilities that feel more real than your current circumstances. These aren't wish fulfillment fantasies. They're previews of potential realities that your conscious observation is beginning to activate. The second sign manifests in your daily synchronicities. When you're observing from limitation, coincidences feel random or meaningless. But when you're observing from possibility, synchronicities become like breadcrumbs leading you toward the doors you're ready to walk through. The right book falls off a shelf at the perfect moment. A conversation overheard in line at the store contains exactly the insight you needed. A wrong number turns into the right connection. These synchronicities aren't the universe playing games with you. They're the natural result of your observation frequency aligning with the creative intelligence that orchestrates reality at the quantum level. When you observe consciously, you're no longer swimming against the current of natural flow. You're allowing yourself to be carried by the same intelligence that moves the planets and grows the trees. The third transformation occurs in your relationship with other people. As you shift the quality of your self-observation, others begin responding to you differently, often in ways they can't explain. This happens because human consciousness operates like a vast network of interconnected observers. When you change the frequency of your own observation, it sends ripples through the entire network, influencing how others observe and interact with you. People who once saw you as limited begin recognizing capabilities they never noticed before. Opportunities for collaboration and support emerge from unexpected sources. Conversations deepen beyond surface level because you're observing others through the lens of their highest potential rather than their apparent limitations. This shift in your observation literally changes the quality of human connection available to you. But perhaps the most profound transformation happens in your relationship with challenges and obstacles. From the perspective of limited observation, difficulties are problems to be solved or endured. But from the perspective of conscious observation, every challenge becomes a doorway to expanded capability. You begin observing setbacks as setups for breakthroughs, observing resistance as redirection towards something better. This doesn't mean you become passive or stop taking action. Rather, your actions arise from a completely different source. Instead of acting from desperation or force, you act from inspiration and flow. Instead of pushing against reality, you dance with it. Instead of trying to control outcomes, you influence them through the quality of your observation and the clarity of your intention. The practice of conscious observation requires what I call quantum patience. This is different from ordinary patience, which often contains elements of resignation or suppressed frustration. Quantum patience is the deep knowing that the reality you're observing into existence is already complete in the field of infinite possibility. Your role isn't to make it happen through effort. Your role is to maintain the frequency of observation that allows it to emerge naturally into your experience. This patience comes from understanding that consciousness operates according to different laws than physical matter. In the material world, change often appears slow and incremental. But in the realm of consciousness, transformation can happen instantaneously. The moment you truly shift the quality of your observation, you've already accessed the new reality. The physical manifestation is simply the universe catching up to the shift that's already occurred in consciousness. Many people abandon their conscious observation practice because they expect immediate physical evidence of change. They observe themselves as abundant for a few days, then check their bank account and see the same numbers. They observe themselves as healthy for a week, then feel a moment of fatigue and conclude the practice isn't working. This is like planting a seed and digging it up every day to check if it's growing. The seed of your new reality is growing in the invisible realm of consciousness before it becomes visible in the physical realm. Your job is to maintain the frequency of observation that nourishes this growth, not to constantly check for evidence that it's working. The evidence will appear, but only after you've established unwavering consistency in your observation practice. This is why the ancient masters emphasized the importance of faith, not blind belief in dogmatic concepts, but the faith that comes from understanding how consciousness creates reality. When you truly comprehend that your observation is actively collapsing infinite possibilities into specific experiences, you develop unshakable confidence in the process, even when physical evidence hasn't yet appeared. The masters also understood that conscious observation must be paired with conscious action. You can't simply sit in meditation, observing yourself as successful while taking no steps toward your goals. But the actions that arise from conscious observation feel completely different from actions driven by desperation or fear. They feel effortless, inspired, and perfectly timed. When you're observing from your highest potential, the right actions become obvious. You don't have to figure out what to do through mental analysis. The intelligence that's orchestrating your transformation also provides the guidance for how to participate with it physically. Your intuition becomes clearer, your timing improves, and your efforts produce exponentially greater results. This is the difference between working hard and working smart. Working hard often means pushing against resistance from a place of limitation. Working smart means aligning your actions with the natural flow of creative intelligence through conscious observation. The same amount of effort produces vastly different results because the frequency from which you're operating has fundamentally shifted. As you continue developing your observation skills, you'll discover that reality has layers of depth you never noticed before. What once appeared solid and unchangeable reveals itself as fluid and responsive. What once seemed impossible begins feeling inevitable. What once required tremendous effort starts happening through natural unfoldment. The doors to your new reality don't open because you've become worthy of them. They open because you've learned to observe with the clarity that recognizes they were never actually closed. The barriers you thought were keeping you out were optical illusions created by the frequency of your previous observation. When you shift that frequency, the illusions dissolve, and the doors reveal themselves as always having been wide open. This moment right now is your opportunity to step into conscious observation. Not tomorrow, not when your circumstances improve, not when you feel more prepared. Right now, in this exact moment, you can choose to observe yourself through the eyes of your highest potential rather than through the lens of your historical limitations. The quantum field of infinite possibility is responding to your observation in this very instant. Every word you're hearing, every thought arising in your mind, every sensation in your body is part of the dance between observer and observed that creates your moment-to-moment reality. You have the power to consciously direct this dance rather than remaining an unconscious participant in it. Your new reality isn't waiting for you to become someone different. It's waiting for you to observe who you already are beneath the layers of conditioning and limitation. It's waiting for you to recognize that you've always been the conscious creator of your experience, even when you were creating unconsciously. The doors are opening now because you're finally ready to see them clearly. Trust the process, maintain your observation practice, and prepare to step into the reality that's been waiting for you all along. Here's your daily mantra to anchor this transformation. I am the conscious observer of my infinite potential. In this moment, I choose to see through the eyes of my highest truth. I observe myself as the unlimited being I have always been. The doors to my new reality are opening now because I observe them with perfect clarity. I trust my conscious observation to reveal what has always been available to me. Every breath deepens my connection to the creative power of awareness. I am both the observer and the observed, dancing in the eternal now, where all possibilities exist. My reality transforms as my observation transforms. I am grateful for the power to consciously create through the quality of my attention. As Gandhi once said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." But I would add this: be the observer you wish to experience. The transformation you've been seeking isn't found in changing your circumstances. It's found in changing the quality of attention you bring to each moment. You now understand that reality responds not to your wishes or efforts, but to the frequency of your observation. The doors to your new reality have always been open, waiting for you to develop the eyes to see them. When you observe yourself through limitation, you create limitation. When you observe yourself through infinite possibility, you become infinite possibility. This isn't philosophy or wishful thinking. This is the fundamental mechanics of conscious creation. Start today. Begin this moment. Observe yourself as the unlimited being you truly are, and watch as reality reorganizes itself around this truth.